Andor, Diego Luna, producer and president of Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy. Welcome. Tony, I thought I could turn to you first. Where did you start when creating the storyline for season 2, knowing that it would be the final part of Cassian Andor's story before Rogue One?
The first thing we did was panic, because we had committed to do five seasons. And then Diego and I sat down in the backyard of a little hotel in Scotland, Pitlochry, and we had a scotch, and we went, what are we going to do? We couldn't possibly, we didn't know what we were getting into when we started. So I wish I could say that I was prescient or really a genius about this, but the problem presented its answer. We had 4 blocks, we needed 4 years. Oh my God, look at that. And that started the conversation about how to structure it. And that really was the origin of season 2.
But I guess putting that into practice must be not difficult, but challenging, because you do have to put so much into the season.
We knew where we're ending, which is a superpower. If you're ever doing a show, know where you're ending, know what your show's about. It really helps. You see a lot of shows, great shows, where people are, I don't know. So it really helps. That was a saving grace. Going to business with Diego Luna.
You heard it here first, people. Kathleen, with Andor being darker and more mature in terms of its entry in the Star Wars franchise, what made you feel that it was the right time to explore this side of the galaxy?
I think we've always wondered about the rebellion. And I think the rebellion is so much a part of Star Wars. And as soon as we came up with the story for Rogue One, which Tony so brilliantly became a part of, Diego became a part of, I think we realized it couldn't just end there. There were too many really powerful ideas being explored that we wanted to just do more of. And here we are a decade later, and Tony has written almost 24 hours of storytelling, and it's really enriched the entire universe.
And it's an incredible 24 hours as well. Diego, I wanted to ask you, Cassian Andor's transformation over the course of season 1 was profound. How does Cassian evolve in season 2, and what aspects of the character were you most excited to explore?
Wow, okay, yes. Can I do one thing first?
You may.
I think it'll be nice to give a good applause to the whole cast that's here, and because it's been, you said it's been 10 years, and it's been 5 or 6 years of this series, and you're a family, and what a beautiful family to work with. It's the best of the best, you know, and now I'll answer that. I think in the first season, he lives an awakening. He wants in, but he doesn't know what he's talking about, right? He has to learn what change actually means, and he has to understand why it's needed. You know, the strength of community. He has to find out what he's capable of, and what's behind that sacrifice, right? He has to experience many events. He has to meet people. He has to learn from Luthen and everyone, and he has to realize that he's capable of bringing something. And I think it's a beautiful journey, the one Tony described, and I would say he pitched it that way from the beginning. You know, what's behind the revolution? You know, yes, we all know there's loss, there's pain. But there's also something really strong, which is love, family, belonging, you know? And this season, I think it's about that, about him finding out that.
I think for a lot of fans of the franchise as well, we know what, but it's the why. Why has this happened, and how was something like this able to happen? And I think season 2 explores that almost tragically beautifully, I would say. Sana, season 1 was praised for its detailed and immersive sets. Can you talk about how production design will evolve in season 2 and any new locations that we can look forward to?
I mean, a new season and moving the story forward meant a whole host of new roles. We left Ferrix behind at the end of season 1, and we pick up a year later, and we find Cassian and Bix and our Ferrix gang in a new planet, where they have kind of made a home and find a new place where they're trying to belong. And we are picking up, Mon Mothma's character, having, promised her daughters, in the hand of marriage to somebody, on her home planet, with this about to be coming true. So all our characters really moving on as the rebellion kind of becomes more urgent and the threat of the galactic war comes closer. So a whole host of new challenges. I think our wonderful designers and craftspeople built 140 sets over 7 stages and 2 backlots and 24 different locations. And it was, it's always a challenge, but then Tony always knew it had to be bigger and wider, and there we were. But coming from season 1 with the same creatives and really the same extraordinary talented feet on the ground, we knew what we're doing. We had learned it. We were battle weary and we were ready for season 2 and to fill the gap between season 1 and Rogue One.
And it looks so epic as well. Did you say 120?
Let's not count them, can
I will say, I would shout out, Luke Hull came from
Was
his
in-
new gig. He's in the house.
in the house.
The man who designed the color palette is, I have to say, really my first collaborator in all things, everything. Everything in the show has to be built, and we just held hands all the way through the whole process. I spent a lot of time talking to Luke. Where are you? So he's here tonight, but big shout out.
Big shout out to Luke.
Crucial, important part of the show.
Tony, my next question is for you. The pacing and the structure of Andor really stand out. How do you approach crafting a story that balances both character development and action in such a unique way?
I mean, really honestly, I'm just terrified you're not going to pay attention. To be honest with you, I'm just so insecure and so craven to hang on to your attention that I want you to turn the page. I want you to be desperate to see what happens next. I want to justify your attention. I want to break your heart. I want you. I have some terrible need that can only be answered by the audience, and I keep working for it. I mean, that's really honest to God. So, and I'm really mean to myself about it. So anything that doesn't meet that criteria falls away, and I've been doing it for a while, and it's really me being needy, to be honest with you.
I was going to say, he's definitely talking to you guys.
No, that's
He's not
what I
talking
mean.
to me.
Why? I'm asking for 12 hours of your attention. It's pretty aggressive.
But we'll give it to you. We will give it to you.
All right, I want it. I'm trying.
Kathleen, how has the response to Andor influenced the direction for the second season? Has it influenced what's happened?
Well, it certainly gave us confidence to move into the second season. But as Tony said, we had the benefit of knowing where we were going. And that made a huge difference. And we had this phenomenal cast that we could only enrich with storytelling. And we're incredibly fortunate to have this amazing team that we've just been talking about. I mean, as Tony said, Luke and that art department and what they created, it's one of the things I'm always amazed by in anything that we create with Star Wars is we're in outer space. So we have to create and build and make everything. And that puts an incredible burden on the people who are involved. And I think nobody ever quite realizes until they get into this world just exactly what that entails. And this is a team of people who just outdid themselves. It's just a phenomenal amount of work. Beautifully done.
Diego, the tone of Andor is so different from other Star Wars projects. I think that's safe to say. How does the shift in tone impact your performance? And do you feel that it helps you potentially bring something unique to your portrayal of Cassian?
I'm sorry to repeat the answer, but I think that no, it's the secret is in knowing the ending, you know? Because you know the ending, everything means so much. Every relation matters, you know? You know what's about to happen to this man, you know what's about to happen in that mission they go on Rogue One. So every encounter matters, every line they say matters, because you know what this man is capable of. You know, he's gonna sacrifice everything for the rebellion. And therefore you wanna know how someone can get there, you know, and what needs to happen in the life of someone to sublime like your journey, you know, in this life. Therefore, it's so, like, there's so much weight behind everything. And the beauty of the writing is that it gives time for humor, you know, for adventure, but then we always go back to the depth of those connections, you know, that transform you. And you know, when you meet this guy, that he needs some transformation. He's not gonna get there, right? So that's why these 24 episodes are so exciting to watch, because there's all the time contradiction. And the other thing I wanted to say is the beauty of the writing that Tony does is that he doesn't judge, you know, he just puts real lives out there, you know, so you get to know both sides in this revolution, you know, you get to know the people behind each trigger, yeah? And that is fascinating and raises the stakes, you know, because, you know, here there's just people, you know, people actually die, you know, if they're in the wrong moment, in the wrong place. Therefore, every step matters, every step counts, and that's what keeps your attention. You know?
I wondered if, you know, a few of you have spoken about knowing the ending, therefore you know where you're supposed to get to, and of course we know that's Rogue One, but does that put pressure on you as writers or producers or performers, because you know it's epic? Maybe you rush, maybe you take too long. That striking that balance must be quite difficult.
You have to go teaspoon by teaspoon. You can't ever think of it, or you can't have an agenda when you write. You can't be big. Everything we do is we start very small. It's what's really happening now with these people, and the rest of it kind of takes care of itself. The momentum of the show is there. It's like the ocean; it just keeps coming no matter what you do. So it's the attention to detail and the stitch by stitch that keep us honest. We move very molecularly through something very, very huge. And so you go small and then you step back and look at it. But you can never think, oh my God, it's this huge thing, or you get too scared, and B, you get vertigo, and B, you start to make mistakes.
You know, I'll add to that, because I think what's interesting is this is a show that we came up with very early in the streaming vernacular, and Star Wars had never been on television. And so exploring stories that we thought could be long-form storytelling was something completely new. And I think that we found that this is a very rich medium. Movies are incredibly important. They're very important to Star Wars. It's where we started. It's the most important thing we do. I love movies, but I have to say, when you have the opportunity to explore a story the way Tony did and the way this incredible cast did, and you can really develop the characters in ways that you're just not able to in the context of a 2-hour movie, I think that's been really enriching and very, very important to the storytelling inside Star Wars.
100%. Sana, the costumes. You know, from what we've seen, wow. Can you tell us what to expect in that department in season 2?
Michael Wilkinson and his entire team really are just, you know, extraordinary artists. His vision and his capability of, you know, being part of imagining what do the people in this culture that we are just creating, what would they wear, what is their life like, and from you know, workmen's clothes, you know, that fit into a new culture we're seeing, to party clothes of elaborate feasts. I mean, it's such a diverse palette that he has to come up with and work with, and he never fails to impress. And I think his work is simply breathtaking. And you know, yes, what a joy. And I think he continues where he started and will not disappoint.
The costumes in especially season 2 and especially Cyril. Woo, I'm gonna be in his wardrobe if I get the choice. I've only got a couple of more minutes with you guys, so I just wanted to ask one more question to each of you. Was there any moment that made you personally realize the impact of this series? How was it to reflect on how incredibly well season 1 was received by audiences?
When we released the show, the season 1, we had no idea what was going to happen. We made the show in Pinewood, under a blanket, in COVID, in secret, sort of. Not intentionally, but just, it's Star Wars, so you don't have test screenings, you don't have focus groups. We built it, this huge thing, what's going to happen? And then we start releasing it, and our previous release pattern was over 12 weeks. So it was sort of like having a movie open every week. And it was very well received. And I'm not on social media, but I became really interested in social media. And so I became like a peeping Tom, a voyeur of all the different, you know, I would read. And it was, you know, to go back to what I said before about my, my insecurity and my need, it was the ultimate satisfaction of that is to read people digging into the show and digging really, really deeply into things that we had spent a lot of time thinking about, and a lot of things that we thought were, you know, maybe someone will pick up on this on a 4th viewing, or who even knows, because we really, and watching people discuss things that we'd left lying there, it was just so, and week after week, it was the most affirming endorsement you could possibly have as an artist. It really is. And we were just starting season 2 then, and it's never easy to do it. And it really, it was a real booster rocket to get going, and to not get cocky about it, and to be, oh my God, we better really get serious and satisfy these people. Yeah.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I don't know if it has anything to do with what you asked, but...
The floor is yours, Diego, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, because I do think we have to thank Rogue One, you know. I think Rogue One made this possible. Yes, right. Because you said if it's like some kind of weight to know we have to get there, it's the opposite, you know. It's like grabbing a wonderful piece of history and making a project about that. That is what Rogue One made, you know, and it's about an event, and we had the opportunity to tell you who's behind the event, right? And I think for me, it was clear that we were doing something different in season 1, when you could see every collaborator, you know, working with so much passion and rigor and commitment, you know. There was something special about how people got involved with this show. In every possible level, you know, everyone was pleased to be there, not just because of what it meant to be working under those circumstances while COVID, but just because we were doing something unique. We had freedom, and we had also the tools to actually do it, you know. And that feeling, you know, it's amazing, and you don't get, probably many people won't ever get it, you know. And we were lucky enough to get it twice. And so it's not pressure, it's the opposite. It's full joy, and I'm sure I'm speaking for a lot of the people working in this show. We were gifted to be part of this.
Well, that's so lovely. Thank you. Yeah, that's. Well, congratulations to you all. We can't wait to see more. And remember, Andor Season 2 will premiere on Disney Plus on April the 23rd. Thank you so much.